My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours. We're a music podcast that chats to artists, musicians and creatives on their songwriting craft and upcoming projects. I'm your host Simon Fink and welcome to episode 286. The incredible Maya is our guest on the pod today, hot on the heels of releasing her second EP last Friday, titled Analysis Paralysis. The talented songwriter has had an incredible year, taking out the Hottest 100 top prize with Flume and the track Say Nothing, and touring the country with her Never Going Back tour. Before we get to our chat with Maya, please head to whatever podcast app you use and ensure you're subscribed to this podcast. After that, make sure you're following us across all of our socials. We've got some incredible guests coming up this month, so follow along to stay up to date. Details for all can be found within the show notes of today's episode. Our guest today is Maya. The talented indie songwriter has always flirted with different sonics and sounds and generated a lot of buzz back in 2021 with her debut EP, Don't Kiss Your Friends. The indie pop EP was celebrated for its songwriting and ended up landing Maya an Aria Award nomination for Breakthrough Artist Release. The following year, she ventured into the world of electronic music with friend Flume and released the Hottest 100 winning entry, Say Nothing, which saw Maya's music exposed to a whole new level of people. She's been spending the last 12 months touring with bands like 5 Seconds of Summer and Wallows, and last week she released her second EP, Analysis Paralysis, which sees the songwriter trialling a more rock-focused sound. In today's episode, we're talking to Maya about this brand new EP and how she realised removing the rules surrounding songwriting opened her creative process up. We discuss the influence that touring with more rock-focused bands has had and how that's translated into a highly praised live show. We also get into the importance of having an all-female band and touring this EP around Australia. Analysis Paralysis is out right now, and we've put links within the show notes so that you can buy the EP and catch Maya at festivals across the country at the end of the year. We also want to say a massive thank you to Annastasia from Sony Music Australia for her help with today's episode. Here is our conversation with Maya. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Maya. Hello, how are you going?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, that's all good. I'm more than happy to be here. I see you got a turnstile record behind you there.
I do, yes. Very nice spotting. That one, especially because it's like pink and white, it kind of blends in a little bit. So that's eagle-eye viewing by yourself there.
Oh, I can see turnstile whenever it appears in my life.
I absolutely love that. I wanted to touch on this a little bit later, but this kind of seems like a perfect kind of opportunity. There is a brand new EP out called Analysis Paralysis from yourself. I want to get that out of the way. This EP does have a little bit of a heavier sound for you, I want to say, maybe compared to that first one. One of the things I wanted to touch on was the influences. I'm now assuming Turnstile might have been one of those influences.
Yeah, I think definitely just in a kind of vibe sense, Turnstile for sure in a creative way too. Like they have their Turnstile Love Connection video that goes like, all the videos are connected and it goes for like 10 minutes. And I was like really inspired by all of their visuals. Mainly their live show stuff, actually, because they had a band support them when they came out here. Can't remember the name. It's like a one word. I can't remember the name. It's
I
like
can see
Sick.
yeah.
It's like Sick or Creep or something like that. But I watched like one of their live shows at the Metro Theatre, and they got rid of the barrier at the front. So it was just like people, because it's like a hardcore show. They jump from the stage, like stage dive. And I watched that video and I was like, damn, I wonder if I can get rid of the barrier at my shows. But my shows are very tame. Like I'll get in the crowd and they'll be like, woo, and then everyone will just stop and watch. And I'm like, no, I'm never going to be on the stage dive. You'll be too polite and like get out of the way.
I did see some footage from some of your shows recently. I think it was the shows in Sydney actually, where a lot of people, artists, industry people, fans that we follow on this podcast were all kind of shocked at how, I want to say, rock orientated / rock and or roll these shows were that you were playing. So I think it's starting to happen. It might not be on this EP, but you'll be getting rid of that barrier soon. I can feel it.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I'm definitely leaning more into that. I think I was scared of doing that when I was younger because I was just a bit like, oh, I don't know if this is like my place to be making this music in a way, just being like a young girl doing singer-songwriter stuff. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can step into that, but it is a lot of what I listen to and what I like. But even like one of the songs from the EP, If You Like It Like That, I put the visualizer up the other day and someone commented being like, is that a Metallica sample? Or like, does it sound really similar? Like, just like vibe wise, I guess. And I was like, wow, that's probably the biggest compliment I've gotten in my life.
I love that. It is, well, like the EP itself, and also congratulations on the EP. It's a beautiful collection of songs. I'm curious, I guess, obviously there was the first EP which came out in 2021. I think it was Don't Kiss Your Friends. A brilliant EP in its own right as well, but sonically somewhat different. Other than that immediate kind of distinction between, for yourself, are there any differences that kind of really identify themselves on this EP?
Like from the last one, I think it's just like growing and changing. And when I put that first EP out, I was very much like, this is like collection of songs of me like growing up and like figuring out how to write music and figuring out who I am. And at the time was like, I feel like a much more fragile person, a lot more quiet and sensitive. And I feel that, I don't know, within those like few years, I feel a lot stronger. I feel a lot louder. I feel a lot angrier about a lot of things. I feel like I'm paying attention to things outside of myself. Whereas like the classic teenage thing where like the world revolves around you, regardless of if you're going to let that be known or not, like, you know, experiencing everything for the first time and like proper deep emotions for the first time. Really. Whereas like now I think I'm better at processing them. And this EP has been a lot more about sonics and sound and like experimenting with my voice as an instrument and going into the darker things that I didn't really feel comfortable talking about, or like, I thought that I felt comfortable talking about them in the first EP, but I didn't touch on them as much as I thought that I did, like certain themes. And yeah, I think I had a lot of rules in my head where I was like, oh, I'm not allowed to say this or do this. And this EP has felt a lot more like, oh, I can do whatever I want.
Well, I'm glad that is kind of where you've come to with this EP. It is, I want to say, the last number of years since the EP have kind of brought on a number of, I want to say, varied opportunities, because I feel that while some musicians and artists and obviously each to their own craft and project. Some people love doing what they do and will make, 4 or 5 of similar sounding records, whereas you have opened yourself to opportunities where I know you've been touring with Wallows, but then you've been playing Coachella with Flume, that you're not kind of sticking to this one genre almost for yourself. And do you think those different opportunities is what has made you, as you said, focus on different sonics and kind of look at things in a different aspect?
100%. And I think I'm a bit of a cliche, like I don't know, juxtaposition. It's not the right word. contradiction of myself, because I feel like I know exactly what I want, but I don't want to be anything in particular. Like I love that I can step into all these different places, and I really, really don't know who I am in the like grand scheme of things, but I know what the project needs at the time, and I very much chase that and follow that. But I also know that like I haven't reached the thing that I think sort of not defines me, but like really, really feels like I'm getting closer to like what I was meant to be doing, I think, or like what I'm the most proud of doing. And I think I'm still finding that. I'm not necessarily chasing it or like in any rush, but these projects definitely feel like more discovery and like walking through different versions of what could be in a way. It's like passing through, like Don't Kiss Your Friends felt like passing through, like, oh, this could be an opportunity. And this EP feels very much like, oh, this is like another thing. But it's not quite there yet. And I think that the next project will definitely be like something completely different. And I couldn't tell you in what sense. But yeah, being able to collaborate with different artists gives me the opportunity to step into different genres, and being able to be on different tours definitely helps like not define myself so much as to surprise people when I do something different.
100%. This EP, I'm curious, there's a word I think you just used before in terms of like proud. Is there a moment on this new collection of songs or on this EP that you're maybe the most proud of? I think it's always unfair to ask like a favorite track, because that seems too obvious, but there is so much work that is put into these songs and these bodies of work. Is there something that you're the most proud of on this EP? And it doesn't have to be a song. It can be, you know, maybe a certain way that the guitar sounded on a certain track, or that like a lyric flowed or something along those lines.
I honestly think Superior Liar, when I wrote that song, I really liked it. So I thought that no one else was going to like it in a way. And when I got all the responses back from the people that I work with being like, this song is so good, I was like, what? I thought everyone was going to turn around and be like, that's not coming out. Like, so I think I was proud of the people around me for sort of trusting me in a sense that I'm like, I know that this might be very different from the last releases, but I think that it's important, you know, and important for me to just put out, because that's what I would be making, and I wouldn't want to hide that from people in a way.
Yeah, 100%. Do you remember your first interaction with songwriting, when you kind of first sat down to write lyrics or melody, and how, I guess what attracted you to it?
I don't remember the first time that I wrote a song, because I've been doing it since I was like 9 or earlier. And I've always written. I've always had diaries. And not saying it's like good, but, you know, as good as like a 9-year-old could write a song. But yeah, I've it's always been there, and I would be doing it if I wasn't doing it professionally. I'd probably be doing it more if I wasn't doing it professionally. But
Hey, it's Sharon, and here's where it gets interesting. Raise your hand if you want salon perfect nails for just $2 a manicure. Yeah, me too. With the Olive & June Mani system, you can say goodbye to expensive services that take hours and hours and love your nails more than ever. I would know. I've been doing it for years. Get 20% off your first Mani system with code PERFECTMANI20 at oliveandjune.com/PERFECTMANI20. That's PERFECTMANI20 at oliveandjune.com/PERFECTMANI20.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What are your self-care non-negotiables? It's hard to make time for the things that keep you healthy. But being consistent with self-care is like working a muscle. And when life gets crazy, that muscle keeps you strong. Therapy is the ultimate self-care. And BetterHelp makes it easy to get started with affordable online sessions you can do from anywhere. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month.
the writing has always been there. The recording, though, like, I think I've always been drawn to the lyrics. I've always been drawn to kind of like singing, but it was more like the instrumentation that came later. And I can picture the first like songwriting session I had where I brought a song in, and I was like 13. And I was like, here's my song. And then it was funny listening to that now and being like, this is the thing that made people believe that I could do this. Like, this is it. But, you know, you got to start somewhere.
I think it's some weird internal thing that everyone has, that where they look back, it might be on a photo, a recording of their voice, whatever it may be. And it's just a thing of that it's because it's an old version of you, you're more critical of it. Whereas I'm sure that there was merit to that song, because obviously you and I are chatting today, this EP is coming out. So it's a thing of that song did what it was meant to at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I would love to know, I guess, in terms of your songwriting, whether you have people that kind of you look up to or that you think have influenced your songwriting over the years. As I've said, very different songwriting for this EP. So it might be that this time around Turnstile have done their job, but previously, and being a writer from such a young age, who has kind of helped you along that journey in terms of writers or lyricists that you've looked up to?
I think as a young kid, Taylor Swift was like the biggest attraction to me, because I was like, oh, this is a young girl who like writes like I do, where it feels like diaristic and intentional and like real storytelling lyrics. And then I got really into like Bob Dylan because my dad would play him all the time. And like Paul Kelly, Australian icon, like was obsessed with him. And then I realized that the link between those three people and like Amy Winehouse, they all have the same kind of diaristic storytelling. It's all like chronological order, kind of like following through a central point. And that felt like each song of theirs like would have that theme at that point in time. And I think that I was really drawn into that. And I really feel that first EP and that type of songwriting was very much like you start it's like all of the songs feel like they're in the one setting, and it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And like it's got the climax and the resolution. Whereas this current EP felt way more like I don't have to follow any rules. I don't have to, like, the lyrics don't have to be the main focal point. And it's like, not the end of the world if I don't sound smart. Like, it's not about that at all. I think listening to a lot more like experimental music, a lot more rap, a lot more like 070 Shake, and the way that she plays with sound, and the way that she does not give a fuck about structure or anything like that. She'll just put three changes, like completely different songs into one song, and just be like, I don't care. This is what you're getting. Like, yeah, definitely like more heavy music, a lot more band influence. I pretty much just went straight into band world after I first started playing live, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is what everything's about, you know?
From what I hear, is that the band that you have been playing with, your band, has had quite an impact, not just on the sound of the EP, but I think that it was on some of the tour blogs that someone from your band has been making or posting, in terms of the band seems to be influencing quite a lot of people across Europe and the UK. I think that because you have such this incredible, strong, all-female band, that you've seen lots of fans and parents come up and kind of commend you on the absolute live force that you've got going. Is that right?
Yeah, well, they're all incredible musicians and all like audio engineers or producers in their own right, and they're just like absolute geniuses. And I'm so grateful to be able to like play with them and just be around them, because we're all like such good friends and look out for each other. Like they're the real people that like really have my back, and I can lean on at any point in time. Like, it really, when I started the band, I knew from the beginning, I was like, I don't want session musicians. Well, I don't want like just session musicians. I don't want someone that views this as a job. I want someone that wants to be a part of this. I want someone that, you know, I've always wanted to be in a band. That was like, since I was a kid, I've always been drawn to that. And it just so happened that I became a solo artist because, you know, I moved around so much as a kid and I wasn't really around heaps of like, all my friends were musical, but they were doing the same sort of thing where it was like just solo, lock yourself in a room, don't talk about it, kind of making music. So I never really naturally found that. So when I had the opportunity to find a band, I was like, I may as well make this like a family thing, which I've always wanted. And it just so happened that it really worked out that way. And it's been incredible. I just wanted female influence for other people, because a large reason as to why I didn't begin making, you know, rock music, or I didn't like begin making music that sounded like a band, is because I didn't see people that represented me, you know, out there. I saw the Taylor Swifts of the world, which are awesome in their own right, but you know, I would listen to the Strokes and be like, that's cool. Or I listen to Catfish in the Bottom and be like, I want to do that so bad, but I can't for some reason. The block is there from simply like the gender. But yeah, after doing those 5-sauce shows, it was really cool to see like all of these young girls, because all ages, like all these young girls that came to see a boy band and they got to see a girl band open, and they're like, wait, I want to play instruments. I want to be in a band. Like I can be the front person, not just the person that like enjoys this.
100%. It's I realize the sheer silliness of me even saying this, because people say representation matters and you go, of course, but then like actually putting it into practice, and as you said, actually having a girl group, physically showing other people that you can do it, does allow whatever strange mind block that people seem to have when it comes to creating. And so I love that.
Yeah, it does feel stupid, even when I first started getting questions about it, being like, oh my God, you're influencing young kids. I was like, yeah, okay. And then when I really sort of took a step back and looked at it, I was like, that's the reason why I didn't think I could be in a band in the first place, is because I hadn't actually witnessed that. And I'm not saying I'm the first person to do it, but like, you know, I didn't see Bikini Kill when I was a kid because it just wasn't put in front of my face. So it's really cool that there seems to be a whole bunch of like female fronted bands coming through, and like all female bands as well. Like it's really cool and it's needed, and like the more the merrier at this point.
100% agreed. And I think to your point, it is like sometimes we are placed in the wrong generation, if you will, in terms of that I was myself, I'm a little bit older than yourself, but I also miss like Bikini Kill and acts like that. And so unless you're having these things put directly in front of you, sometimes generations do miss them. So I think it's important. I love what you're doing. So congrats on the band and please keep doing it. I know that you recently went around the country on the Never Going Back tour. How did those shows go? I did hear quite a lot of positive press around the shows.
Oh, cool. Thanks so much.
Of course.
They were incredible. We put so much work into like really making it an intentional kind of experience for people, you know, like we really wanted people to come in and be like immersed in the space. Like we got our friends to come out with us. We really wanted the entire experience to be like beneficial to everybody. And you know, like we decorated each venue so that when you walked in, like at least something felt different if you'd seen a bunch of shows there. You know, just like lots of silver and tassels, and me and my guitarist like stayed up super late, just like spray painting different, and like laminating different stuff to like hang up all over the venues, and like made like custom stamps so that when you came in, like the venue would be stamped with like a Never Going Back kind of thing. Awesome. And that's the kind of stuff that like really matters to us in like creating an experience. But then when it comes to the live stuff, like we practiced like more than we, you know, I ever have, and I'm so blessed that I have the people that want to do that and want to like really dedicate the time to like make it as good as possible. And yeah, it just like it all really paid off in the sense of like all of the hours that we put into really nailing down those moments seemed to pull together. And then all of the natural moments that happened live like still felt so good. And a lot of the new songs, like If You Like It Like That live, just felt so cool. It felt pretty rock. It did make me realize though, playing that directly after playing like Central Station, which is super like sing-songy and very light, I was like, oh damn, yeah, this is a bit much, but it's really cool. Or like extending, we had like a 16 bar just like guitar instrumental of everybody just rocking out, and I was like, this is what I've always wanted to do. So it was really great.
I absolutely love that. That's awesome. I know that there are some shows, I think there's some festival appearances as well. Can we expect to see possibly another tour maybe this year or next year in support of the EP?
I'm hoping next year. It sounds like we'll be able to plan something. Yeah, I'm pretty free next year. We haven't really planned too much yet.
Look, that's very exciting to hear. I know that there are a lot of people who either saw you and want to see you again or missed out and are hoping to catch you. So that's exciting news whenever that news does come. Maya, we would usually ask our guests what they're currently listening to at the moment, maybe other than Turnstile. Is there anything that is on repeat for yourself at the moment?
God, I feel like I always get asked this question and I'm listening to so much that I can't narrow it down. But definitely that new Dominic Fike record, me and everybody else listening to that, it feels so homegrown and so real, and like it's not trying to be anything, and it feels raw and beautiful. And he did it with Jimmy Stack, who I also love, who does I think he's worked on a Deb Never record, and she's also really cool.
Absolutely solid pick. Love that. Fantastic record. Maya, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I do appreciate it, and congrats on Analysis Paralysis, the EP, which is out right now.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, and I am the host of the award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. I have daily author interview podcasts, over 1,600 of them that I've recorded over the last 5 years. Hear from all your favorite best-selling authors, celebrities, and more, even if you're too busy to read the books. Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Again, that's Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Listen today.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.